year, guys. This is insane. It's our 5th year and I have a spotlight on me. You know we're getting really good, all right? So for those who don't know me, my name is Natalie Wallace. I am the Vice Chair and Director of Programming for ConBravo. I'm also, as most of the staff are, insanely sleep deprived and cannot guarantee what's going to come out of my mouth. I really don't know why they ever give me a microphone or ask me to do opening ceremonies. I never understand it. But every year, they still give me the microphone and say, hey, guess what you're going to do? And, really? So, apparently they want the pretty people on the mic. Why is Mark coming up here then? Sorry.
Get the burn heel.
Anyways, so I just want to say welcome to everybody who's here. Thank you so much. I can't believe the Friday of the convention already. I can't believe it's been a year since our last one. Time flies when you're trying to pull things together, apparently. So we have a fun video intro, which you can kind of see. A little sprite there. I just want to say a huge thank you to Dan the Video Ninja and Featherweight for their contributions to this, as well as Jimmy Henson, aka Big Giant Circles, for giving us the right to his music. So we need a rock. Yeah, come on. Okay, I don't think that was enough energy. Can we try that again? I'm a very demanding person with a microphone, so you'll realize. So, I think without further ado, we are going to do the video here. All right?
Then the chair.
Is that, yeah? Bingo?
Yeah, video. Go.
Wrong video. Sorry. Apparently that's not right.
Sure?
One moment, please.
DLC.
Beautiful. I still don't know. Oh, maybe.
We go to video and full screen. That's it. Can you believe the hype?
Well, this is off to a great start.
Whoa. Oh, hi, honey. Is this right? Yeah. Oh, God. Okay, enjoy.
Why are you cheering that?
I'm still introducing you, I'm assuming, because nobody actually knows who you are. No, who is this? Anybody not know? Who is
He's my roommate!
Everybody, can I get as loud as humanly possible? Like, I want the Sheridan to hear this across the street. As loud as humanly possible, welcome for our con chair, the guy who keeps us all together, the guy I get to yell at all the time, Mark Chan.
Am I on? Come on. Okay, good. Is that going to keep happening? All right. So, thank you everyone for coming out to opening ceremonies. This is a new room for this particular event, so filled out pretty well, I think. Opening ceremonies is basically the point of the show where I get to be on stage for a little bit and call everyone names.
Babies!
No. Babies are spoken for, I'm sorry. I'm all out of babies. Alright, so, before we get started, I am obligated to do some thank yous and some plugs. Not contractually obligated, just obligated by guilt. First of all, I'd like to, and these are our sponsors and so on and so forth. So first of all, special thanks to Microsoft for supporting our PC gaming hall this year. Super One Up Games, Retro Gaming, and Co-Lookout for providing excellent arcade and console section. To Chop Shop Goods for their apparel services. Any of our staffers that you see walking around, this is Chop Shop Goods and any of our merch shirts. To Anime North and G Anime for their wonderful event support. To our vendors, the Lilith Gift Boutique, Kigurumi Canada, Lilith Gift Boutique and Kigurumi Canada for prize support at our game shows. And to both the Hamilton Convention Center by Carmen's and the Sheraton Hamilton Hotel for their venue services. I'm also happy to announce that we will be having a new show on November 8th called Fanfare 2. It is the second show. So we will be having a new show that's going to be in Toronto at the International Plaza. We'll see how that turns out, and I hope to see some of you at it at least. So please join us on that weekend, and you can find more at the registration desk or online, fanfaregeekfest.com. And that will be, like I said, more info on Rich. So that's going to be cool. For those of you interested, we've also added a second screening to the Toronto AVGN movie screening at the Royal Cinema. That's August 16th, and we've added a 10 p.m. show. So that's going to be pretty good. So that, for the record, the first screening is sold out in 3 days. So we're like, we need permission for second screening. And lastly, I would like to make sure to encourage everyone to stop by the charity auction. That's on Sunday. We'll be raising money to support Child's Play. Arnold Floss will be our auctioneer, and there will be tons of items to bid on, including signed copies of various memorabilia, awesome donations from vendors and artists, and a whole slew of other great stuff. So I hope you all come out tonight. All right. So every year they let me do a speech. It's a very bad idea. And hopefully this year will be a good one. I'm getting a little bit of feedback up here, Pat. I'll watch you. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests of all stripes, children of all ages, shapes, and sizes, welcome. This marks year 5. 5 long, wonderful years of making this convention happen. It marks 5 years of my amazing team making this work, and 5 years of you excellent people, reassuring us that no matter how much we fall over ourselves, we're doing just fine. If you told me 5 years ago that we would be catering to so many thousands of people, I would have laughed and rolled my eyes and said, no, that's never happened. But the reality is that we've seen the show grow in ways I've dreamed of. I sat down with some friends in a bubble tea shop in February of 2010 to start planning a small West of Toronto convention set up for maybe a few hundred people. And where we are now is far beyond what we planned to set out to do. So I'm very happy. When we got into this, I had no idea what kind of convention we wanted to make. And now with 5 years under our belt, we cater to YouTubers, gamers, cosplayers, and so much more. Whatever we are about has been decided by the community. And I see it as our job to serve that interest. It hasn't always been easy, but you guys have made it excellent. This community has shown me that despite hardship, we pull together in a way both wonderful and inspiring. For a lot of us, this was a hard year. Whether it's because we lost Keith, the joking gamer, who had become a heartfelt friend to the game chasers and many of us others in the community, or Justin Carmichael, who many of you knew as Juwario, one of the finest and most inspiring souls that many of us ever met. This has been a year that we've all had to hold each other through. I have not come here to mourn them, however, and they wouldn't want them. This weekend is a celebration of our passions and endeavors, and it's a festival, a parade, and a carnival, and so much more. They were some of the most sincere in their passions, and whether they've passed into the great beyond or looking down upon us now, I believe they would want us to celebrate as they did. There's a saying that I was told by my grandfather when I was young, that we all carry a fire inside of us, and when we pass on, our fire does not go out. We set it by the roadside to light the path, so that every soul can find their way. I believe that. And this community is an amazing family, and I'm honored to know so many of you who would do exactly that for so many of each other. May it be that our time with each other is wonderful, special, and memorable. And welcome to our 5th anniversary. So I'm gonna take a breath for a moment, because I didn't expect to be as emotional through that as I was, and give me a second. Okay, so now I get to our guest remarks. And because this is the show that it is, I have to bring equipment. One? Two. So these are going to be consumed in the next 5 minutes.
I'd love to share.
Chuck.
This is my 3rd one today. All right. So, to get the show on the road, I'd like to begin by introducing some of our guests, artists, costumers, and developers. Some of our great producers that are here. Now, here's the thing. I have not been able to take stock of everyone who's in the audience. So, I'm going to go through this, and if you are here, guys, please stand up and give a wave. Yeah. Okay, so I'd like to welcome Katie Tybreck, the creator of Awkward Zombie. She's probably down on the expo floor if she's not here. Sorry, I'm also got spotlight right in my eyes, so if I don't catch you, I apologize. Andrew Gregoire, the creator of I Am Arg. Finley S. Alexius, creator of Romantically Apocalyptic. Devin Featherweight Harrigan, our local god of cardboard and master propsmith. For reference, he was the Dr. Doom who pulled up the Bazinga shirt in the video. I met this man covered in like 30 pounds of real rock.
110.
Sorry, 110 pounds of real rock cosplaying the Thing from the Fantastic Four. That's like a decade ago. Good God, I'm old. Yeah, no. A lot. You had like long hair back then too. That must have been murder in the city.
Get on with it!
Ryan Consul, also known as That Slave Leo, consummate craftsman of costuming goods and a scientist, ladies. Or gentlemen. Our darling Dazzling Kudrell, master costumer, back for her 3rd year at the show. And Detailed Illusion, also known as Damn It, Thranduil's Tall. If you see this man's cosplay, holy cow. So a big hand for Detailed Illusion. Next, I'd like to welcome some of our performers who will be jazzing up our various stages this weekend. And better make the concerts.
Yes.
Everyone? Got my eyes on you? I have like a ninja hotline that can kill you. All right. Debs and Errol, minstrels, filkers, aka Debs, why do you let Errol go on stage? So big hand for Errol. Sorry, where was I? Fandom Musicals, whose overwhelmingly gorgeous and wonderful cast has been working all year long to make us all pee a little with excitement, which means you make sure you catch the Star Explorer show, which is coming up next around 7 o'clock, I believe. So, Magic Steve, a balloon wizard who makes magic by twisting with the very fabric of balloons. He's going to be making like Daleks and the cast of Sailor Moon and stuff like that, so check it out. It's going to be pretty awesome. I don't know if I should announce these next guys. They were already reached.
Do it, monkey! Say our name! Say it slow!
Comedic Masters Extraordinaire once again prove that no pants are required by midnight, or ever really, the 404s. James Rold of Epic Game Music, both our concert director and a man whose guitar playing skills are second to none. Where is I? The Blast Processors, prophets from the future era, come back to warn us about our 90s Sega shunning Nintendo buying ways. They missed 1992, they're a little off, so now it's just, wait a second. And the Blast Processors. And a DJ Janos, our resident DJ who's sitting right back there. Staff in the dance party tonight. If you want to bring in cake, that's good too. Benjamin Briggs, the rising star whose remixes will make your ears explode with joy and glitter. And the epic DJ Cutman, founder of Game Chops and one of the foremost specialists in music from the year 20XX. This is a long segment of the opening ceremony. And now for our guest video producers, voice actors, and assorted creators of just about every stripe imaginable. Our Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Holocaust, whom you will see at the Masquerade on Saturday night, and you will see him. Those gloves basically connect to daylight. You're right in my spotlight. I couldn't see you in person. Antfish, Anthony Sardina, a member of Team 4-Star and creator of the absurdly fun JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Abridged. Ben Israel, voice talent on many animated series and commercial, and the best Waspinator impersonator I've ever heard. I hope to God there's more than Big Mike to represent this next year. He stood up too much. These warriors are terrible, starring a cast of extraordinary inventive role players, unwisely equipped with microphones on the internet. Amanda Whitney, aka Witless, who writes letters to people that don't exist and unwisely hangs out with Errol. I'm going to murder this next person. I don't speak Greek very well. Petros L. Iano, whose name I hope I didn't butcher, creator of My Life as a Video Game, in which he talks to Brental Floss's disembodied floating head. Tom White, aka he is an evil genius who has an unhealthy obsession with cheesecake. Woo! Garrett the Bard, our local militant librarian with a very fancy hat. Ask him about the documentary Bus when you get a chance. So that finally happened. Mike the Birdman Dodd, who will no doubt be wearing a dress at some point this weekend. There's nothing wrong with that. And 3 of our local review wizards, Jason, Kat, and Terrence of 3 kilobytes, if they're in the room. Oh, now Snowball shows up. I already announced these Warriors are terrible, Steve.
Woo! Way to drop the ball, Sailor!
Damn fucking straight.
Next round of announcements. Leon Thomas, who talks about films and thinks about them in ways that make my head hurt and my heart rejoice. So big thanks to Leon Thomas. And Nash Bozard, who really likes guitar, the color red, and showing off his rich, luxurious hair. Returning for his 3rd year in a row, Louis Slinkar Lovehog, a man with a hat, a magic gun, and a deep-seated hatred to ugly, bad comics. And a man who can't be here just yet due to delays, but back in Canada for the first time since 2012, we hope very soon, Angry Joe Vargas and other Joe. Is Daniel here?
He's in the city.
Okay, well, Rue and the Commodore of Clan of the Grey Wolf, complete with Rue's terrible wardrobe. I can't believe you didn't wear a Hawaiian shirt. My joke is ruined. A man who tries to stay positive in the sight of awful games, Shane Lewis of Reraz. Billy and Jay of the Game Chasers, who did the long drive up in search of games and glory. They brought Alpha Omega Sin with them. Is he in here?
I can't find either one of them right now.
All right.
They're at a bar. Try to let him know it was in.
Oh no.
He's here.
Shenanigans all weekend long? I think so. Known for his inhuman gaming skills and hanging out with New Jersey hippies named Frank, Pat the NES Punk Country. And from the Game Theorists, the proudly well-traveled master of the culture exchange, Gaijin Goomba. Thank God this is a long one. And everyone showed up, basically? All right. Yeah, miracles do happen. One year I just threw out half my sheets because no one was here. All right, so the best damn Sergeant Slaughter impersonator I've ever seen, and one of my personal favorites in the realm of movie reviews and more, Bob Chipman, aka Movie Bob. Proton John, Chugga Conroy, and Nintendo Capri Sun, who together make the ridiculously funny Runaway Guys. And Sayanella, who's sitting right here, so she can come up and wave. Four men with too much stuff because you guys won't stop saying the male, Matt, Pat, Wooly, and Liam, 2 best friends, super best friends. Excellent. Creator of Satch Bags Goods, inspiring designer and gaming zen master, Satchel like a bag Drakes. Because I'm blind, did Shane and John make it in here?
Yeah, they're here.
Okay, cool. A man that you have maybe never heard the voice of until he made the promo for our show, but whose encyclopedic knowledge of games is staggering, Shade of Did You Know Gaming. And finally, esteemed guests, I'd like to introduce a man who right now is missing his little red-eyed robot birdie back home. His dreamy smile and charming candor have been wholly successful in making absolutely terrible games like Takeshi's Challenge palatable to other human beings on this planet. Here from the distant and ancient land of New York, I give you JonTron. We're all looking around.
Texted me.
Wherever he may be, he is here in spirit.
Yes.
He's also here in body.
And the Bakeland Street has.
Yep. And I think that's everything. Think. All right. So then, I want to get to our next segment. I'm not playing Freebird. We don't have music. What do you want? No, you don't want me to put my shirt off. College was not kind to this guy. All right. So Satch, we're going to go to the next video. Now then, I'd like to introduce another man who can't be with us this weekend, but who sent along a special message to all of his fans. As a warning, he does say his Toronto fans. And I apologize to the Americans for the next comment, but he is American, and as far as they're concerned, Toronto is just somewhere in Canada. It's Ontario. But yes, that said, a very special message from the angry video game nerd himself, James Rolfe. Sound. Give it a second.
It is up. It's up. Are you using VLC? Very well. No, default DVD player.
Then go to VLC.
Give it a second, guys.
It's working.
We'll get this working in a moment.
Can you play DVD? You can play DVD from VLC.
Sure, awesome. I know that was the one program that they had working before. Here you go. Any?
Dance.
How we doing? What's working? Maybe kill VLC. Just hang on, guys. Tech problems are the start of any great show.
Yeah, it's coming through the speakers. It just needs to go up. It's coming through the speakers. It just needs more volume.
And better. Meanwhile, I'm going to stall by powering up. Stand up! I am standing up. Sing Yeah, are we all like covering our ears in preparation for like mic feedback?
It's all right.
Thank you.
Alright. How are we doing, guys? Okay, so I guess we'll get this working. I'm gonna tell Stan.
Unless I can clean it myself. That's what I gotta do. It's gotta be.
Wait a second. Alright, so I guess that's all I take notes.
You turn it down.
So, now I'm pretty loud. So we've had about 5 years to get this right. And as you can see, God smiles fondly upon us. I want to share why we started the show in the first place, because I was a little glib about it. And really what it was is we had seen a lot of big shows that we thought were cool, but we wanted to do it our way a little bit right. And ConBravo was conceived of by myself and my friends Mike and Kenny back in 08 or 09. We didn't have a name yet. And basically what happened was, we said, let's look for the most local thing. We're all from we were all at the time living in a little place called Oakville, which is just outside of Toronto, and it's between Toronto and Hamilton. Don't ever live there. Not because it's a bad place, because the rent is exorbitant. So we're sitting there and we're looking around, and we find this hole-in-the-wall little Holiday Inn next to Sheridan College, and we say, let's go in there on a whim. And we saw the place, and to us at the time, that was like the best venue ever. It's actually really surprising. At the time, it was great. And we went home, we went to a friend's place, and we were talking with a bunch of our friends about how excited we were about the San Diego. Let's just say that we didn't exactly inspire confidence. You want to run a convention? You want to run a convention? It takes thousands, millions of people to have. I don't think there's conventions with millions of people at them. But basically, that night we were just shot down over and over again because running a convention when you've never done it before and you don't really organize events in the first place seems a bit, yeah, crazy. Bring me back to life. Stabilize it. Stabilize it? Yeah. Stabilize.
I tasted that.
Okay. So, where was I before my untimely death? All right. Let's get the video up. All right, pull it back. Rewind that.
You want to go to the very beginning?
Yeah, come right back to the beginning.
The audio from the talk is messed up. Only the trailer audio.
All right.
Do we have subtitles?
What?
Just take your own message out.
Down there, bro. Can we do a double bit?
All right. Hold it there. Hold it for a second.
Pause it.
Okay. I got to watch this before this all started being a problem. Basically, what James Rolfe says is, yada, 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 I love my Ontario fans. Talks about us being his first international convention, and they love to come again. And he's hoping that you guys enjoy what is going to be about 4 minutes of the movie that no one else has seen unless you're like a close personal friend of his. So this is a preview of the ABGN movie, sent to us by James Rolfe. And again, we're going to be showing that on August 16th in Toronto. So, it's showing in a lot of places. I mean, I know you guys, the best friends, you guys got tickets in Montreal or something, right? So, it's showing in a lot of places. So we're going to see about 4 odd minutes or so. It's not done. And here's the thing. This is a funnier joke as this has already happened. The audio is not properly mixed. Because that's how it is. So something's just come out of one speaker, but we're going to get to see some footage. So what I'll do, if you guys kind of stick around for closing ceremonies, we'll play this again with fixed audio. All right? Cool. Let's go. Let's continue with this, and we're showing footage that has audio for some reason. we could probably kill it there for now. I mean, again, we'll show the closing ceremonies and we'll have the audio fixed. I do apologize for this. Technical hiccups are what they are. All right, so I have to attend to a fairly urgent matter, which means I'll be getting off the stage. Satch, don't worry, we assigned someone to take care of things for you. But we have started a tradition of doing a proper keynote at the opening ceremonies, and I'd like you guys to put your hands together to welcome a man who has valiantly undertaken the task of bringing this year's to life. Please welcome again Satchel Drakes.
Audio? Audio?
Ooh, oh dear. Oop. It's a little close to ladies here.
There's a video. Move, Mark. You're in the way. As always.
The audio's not playing.
Oh, there we go. That sounds like audio. Sweet.
There isn't a connection problem with that, is there?
How do we get all the music in
Alright.
Alright, it seems like there are some stereo audio issues with the intro video, which kind of lays the premise for the presentation, but we're going to work through it regardless of. Don't. Give me 1 second. Hi guys, how you guys doing? If you don't know me, which it's highly likely that you don't, my name is Satchel. I'm a user experience designer full-time and a game designer for fun. By fun, I mean the context of like game jams and things like that. But I really love video games, and I got into a lot of the work I do through video games, through the art of video games. So through that, I decided I wanted to design them for fun, and on the side, I also wanted to make a YouTube channel called Satchbags Goods, which is essentially really short, usually 10 to 15 minute video essays that cover video games at the crossroads of art and culture and sociology and things like that. And it's through that Mark and the wonderful guys at ConBravo invited me out, and I'm super humbled and encouraged to be able to stand in front of you guys and share some of the stuff that came to mind regarding video games and sympathy. So this is going to be a bit of a pivot from the inductions, almost with regards to subject matter. It's going to be a little bit more focused on game design. So if you're an artist, if you like drawing or whatever, you have an Etsy account, there are a lot of people in this community that do things like that. You might get something out of this, you know what I mean? At least I've tried my best to gear it so that it can be fruitful in that way. So what spawned this, the subtitle is 3 Reasons Why the BioShock Movie Will Fail. I think it was about 2 months ago that IGN and a bunch of other outlets posted this article saying that, you know, the .coms for a BioShock movie released, and yeah, the .coms were released, and that there's a budget for a BioShock movie that's going to be made. And the first thing I did was cringe, and I think a lot of people cringed. Maybe it was knee-jerk reactions, but I think that there are some very important things to the BioShock franchise that just don't translate into film. And we're going to discuss them, and through that, we're going to celebrate the things that make video games really awesome and unique. So we can go to the next slide. That's cool. There's a lot of video content in here. Oh, actually, the backbone conclusion is a video. It might not even play properly. We're going to try to work through it the best way that we can. First things first, let's get to know each other. I started to introduce myself. I have 3 questions. The first one is going to pretty much have a unanimous answer, but by show of hands, how many people play video games? Right, everybody. Okay. So you keep your hand up. Keep your hand up. Okay. Other people who play video games, how many people have watched a movie that is an adaptation of a video game? Okay. How many people have watched the adaptation of said video game and thought that that movie was as good, if not better, than the game? We got some stragglers. All right, that's cool. I wanted to know how many people I'm going to piss off in this presentation. That's all right. All right, good. Say what? All right, I'll give that to you. Also Doom, where they go all first person or whatever. Like, The Rock never goes wrong, even if it's in a bad presentation. Yeah, exactly. Maybe not House of the Dead. No, we won't give too much credit. All right, cool. All right, that's good. We can move on. You can, yeah.
Next one.
Next one, yeah, next one. That's cool. Okay, so things that I'm not. This is a preface. I'm going to make this really quick. We've got 25 minutes, right? I won't kill you guys. I'm not your professor, so I love reading books about these things. I love reading books about game design. I can fanboy over that stuff, but in a lot of ways, I'm not a qualified authority. I'm not like Ian Bogos, who writes all these books and teaches stuff at colleges and things like that. Just enthusiast. I'm not your father, so the things expressed here are purely opinion. It's not like an authoritative kind of thing for you guys. I'm not finished. I'm constantly growing. Sorry? Right, yeah. Right, I'm not finished. I'm constantly growing myself. So these are things I'm always working through, and my opinion can change. Next. I am a person, if you didn't know, and also a resource. So I worked really hard to kind of put this together to teach you guys, and I'm definitely still learning through it. It seems like this is a really relaxed environment where people just shout things out. So I guess you could do that. That's cool. Next one. Okay, so 3 things we're discussing today. First thing is the history of adaptation. This is a really interesting context. The history of adaptation, which is essentially something that's always been a part of history, whether it's mythology, that gets moved on to literature, which gets moved on to video games and to film. The next thing we're going to be discussing is the power of video games, what they do with people. And the third thing is the failure of a Bioshock movie, which is one of the most important points. We're going to figure out how we can work through explaining the value of that. So you can go ahead. All right, cool. So adaptation is nothing new, right? We've always had it. Folklore, go to novels, go to theater, film, or sometimes novels will just skip over theater and they'll go straight to film. We have that in Les Mis and things like that. And it's generally something that's not, it's not always looked down upon. It's not always a negative thing. Sometimes it can be positive, especially with regards to relevancy. You can move on to the next one. Right, so it made older IPs relevant. As you're able to move into new mediums, like moving into film and stuff like that, like with a new generation of people who are very engaged by like media-driven content, adding that dimension, adding that visual or that sonic dimension to a story can really give it legs, give it skin, make it something that's very relatable, right? Next one. And here are a couple of examples. So Song of Achilles obviously took the old Greco-Roman tale of Achilles. Harry Potter, right, was given meta-narrative, and like for things like Les Mis, characters are within the context of like huge set pieces, right? So in a story that maybe focus on narrative or maybe focus on music, like you can really put them in areas that you wouldn't be able to on like a Broadway stage. You know, even though set pieces are an art within themselves, like you can help immerse people through film, right? This is very basic stuff, but stuff that's sort of pivotal to like adaptation. All right, so case in point, adaptations are not objectively bad, and that's the first one. Next is the power of video games. Unfortunately, the stereo is a little bit messed up, so this was a clip from Indie the Game, the movie, where Phil Fish kind of explains that video games are the culmination of all of the arts, right? You have visuals, you have sound, you have composition, and they're all and you have narrative, right? You have story writing, and they're all sort of inside of this wrapper of interactivity. So they're kind of made to be this very personal medium by things that we're really familiar with. And through that, they are a hybrid theory of sorts, right? So, yeah, I went there, guys. I apologize. That was bad. All right, but nonetheless, they are a hybrid theory of sorts, right? So they have more history than you think. Even though video games are relatively young, they're about like 2 or 3 decades young or whatever, like sort of like, I don't know, I guess the real enthusiasts kind of started Gen X maybe a little bit before, right? Sorry for people older than that who are really enthusiastic about it. They draw from the visual arts, they draw from musical composition, they draw from narrative, and then mechanics are obviously a new thing, but something that existed in analog forms like chess or things like that, right? So some of the examples for visual arts, we'll just run through them really quickly. Like Braid was really great because it showed really it's hardware allowed for flexibility for a lot of these things, and it made video games like, usually when you get new hardware, the first thing you think about is, oh man, how can we really max out the polygon count on the next generation of systems? Like next gen is characterized by things like that, but one thing that it also allows game designers to do is execute things that are a lot simpler, a lot flatter, and maybe remove the UI and increase conveyance and things like that. So you have Bray that kind of draws from fine arts, right? And Automodelista that draws from more contemporary arts, like vector-based things. You find like Illustrator, if you've ever been to like iStock photo, you know, you get a lot of vector-based imagery like that. And that was a really cool game that unfortunately didn't see any like, it didn't get any traction. It wasn't very popular, but the art style was really cool, and what they tried to do was very interesting. Cuphead, which was just announced at E3 a couple of months ago, is a really cool game that's kind of done in the style of this like Technicolor like Disney film, right? And that's something completely unique unto itself. It literally feels like you're playing a cartoon. And they were able to take advantage of some of the processing power to put like this kind of like gritty film texture on it. It's something very unforgettable. And then of course Shovel Knight, which is a game I completed not so long ago, and I'm kind of in my second run of, and it's really good. How many people are playing through Shovel Knight right now? Yeah, very good. That game taps into childhood. It hits me right in the feels. And visually, Yacht Club Studios, they put themselves through a really cool like artistic challenge where they would limit themselves. They essentially designed it as if they were designing it for a NES emulator. So the palette is limited to the amount of colors you could actually use in a NES palette. The same thing goes for like musical composition as well. We can move on to this one. All right, cool. Finally, the score, musical stuff. One of my greatest challenges is talking about music. I think a lot of game reviewers, especially on YouTube, kind of struggle with unpacking what music is like beyond like, well, the good parts make you feel good, and the bad parts make you feel bad. But for things like Skyward Sword, the best thing that I can kind of communicate is that there's range, right? So Skyward Sword, Koji Kondo, like this man is a legend, and Skyward Sword, he was totally able to like take advantage of the fact that you can have full orchestrated pieces that really communicate like the majesty and the grandeur of things, right? And Fez is kind of on the opposite end, where though they didn't restrict themselves like Shovel Knight did, they still used like chiptune stuff, right? Disaster Piece did a really good job of making these sort of like ambient spaces that complements this like 32-bit feel, right? Rez is probably the most unique of the bunch because it's one of those music games where it has sort of like this intimate relationship with mechanics. So depending on the way that you play, depending on the input you sort of have, you can change the measure, you can change the time signature, there's a lot of different things that you can adjust, and that's what makes it special of that. And Limbo finally is one of the few games that has an absence of melody, and it's like completely like ambient stuff. And it's even that is a really cool thing to think about when you're putting together a world, when you're designing something. Let's move on to the next one. And the narrative. Final Fantasy VII, super expandable, right? I mean, they killed it. They killed the narrative with all the offshoots and Dirge servers, all these other things, right? It's probably games that were good in their own right, but this is an example of a story that can be expandable, that can be blown out into different types of side stories and stuff. The Walking Dead narrative, just like Rez, it's wrapped into the mechanics, and you can change the ending of something, you know? And finally, Bastion, which tapped into the first kind of like dramatic irony where you have this like narrator that tells you things that are about to happen, lets you know about yourself. It was a cool means of having like a tutorialized mechanic, things like that. So those are the three kind of subservient-ish components of video games. But the last one is the most important one. And that would be mechanics, right? This is the king component, even though the other ones are just as important and serve it in an important way. This kind of like makes it or break a game. Like if a game can look really good, but if it doesn't play well, if you don't feel like there's good game feel or things like that, it's not, there's always something like missing. So it brings about three different things. There are three ways in which the game has an intimate conversation with the player through mechanics, and we're going to dive into those. So the first thing is suspension of disbelief, which game reviewers have probably used once in a while, or maybe you've heard it on like the Game Station podcast. Like I know Total Biscuit will kind of like, he'll jump into it if you're like super into like YouTube stuff, which it's a term that was coined by Samuel Taylor, and this was way back in 1817. If a writer can infuse human interest and a semblance of truth into a fantastic tale, the reader would suspend judgment concerning the plausibility of the narrative, which is just a really fancy way of saying like you are fully aware of the fact that you're on Earth, like playing this game in the real world, but at the same time, you can totally get invested and you're totally vulnerable to like to the things that are going on in the game. Like you can relate to the characters in the game, you know. You can move on. So that's the first one. The second of the three is game feel, which other people have like labeled as kinesthetics, which pretty much means like kinetic response, aesthetics, the things that you see. Feel is a hard word, right? Because it's kind of like, it's tied to emotion, right? But it's not tied to thematic things or emotional things. It just means like your reaction. We go on to the next one. And in the further explanation, this is by Steve Swink, who wrote a really good book on game feel for the people who are kind of interested in figuring out what it is about games that pull them into it. It says it's a tactile, kinesthetic sense of manipulating a virtual object and the sensation of control in a game. So think about if your mother played Mario Kart for the first time. Like the reason why she may swerve left or right, like while she's holding the controller, it doesn't really help her, but it's something that you respond to because you feel like you're actually a part of the game. And lastly is player agency. I have a really good friend named Brian Green. He's working on a game right now called That Dragon Cancer. I don't know if any of you guys know about that, but it's been at like the PAXs. He has it for play on the PAXs. It's unfortunately getting released first on the Ouya, but it's going to be ported to like Steam and things like that, right? And he has an amazing mind. So long story short, it's a game about his son. His son was diagnosed with like this terminal cancer, like when he was a child, not to make it too dark, but he's making a video game about that. It's sort of like his walk through that and his struggle with that. And one thing that he said, he was trying to explain like the fact that he's doing this thing, like his grandmother and all his family and his friends are like, why are you making a video game about this? He says that video games are super films where rather than creating a world in a snow globe that can be observed at leisure, the creator calls the viewer to love their world by living and interacting within it. So rather than it sort of being like a spectator sport, it's something that you dive into yourself, right? And I love the illustration Snow Globe, which we're going to return to because that's a really good vehicle to explain the difference between films and video games. He says that player agency is like a jewel. So rather than it being a snow globe where you look at it and you can see the things going inside of it, it's a jewel in the sense that you are still yourself. Like when you play a game and you enter a world, whether it's Final Fantasy or maybe even World of Warcraft, like around Mists of Pandaria when they really started caring about lore a little bit more. Like it's a jewel where you're still yourself on the outside, but on the inside, you have the win state. Right, whether if it's a more linear game, like let's say Pac-Man or something, or the developer's intent for whatever you're supposed to get out of it, you know what I mean? And depending on how you position yourself, whatever's on the inside of the jewel changes. There's opportunity for like multiple perspectives, you know? So we can move on to the next one. Those are the power of video games. The third thing is the failure of the BioShock movie, and I apologize because this portion is the backbone, but it's also a video that the audio might not come through. We can try it.
We're gonna try.
Let's give it a shot.
Sweet.
We'll try to play it. Yep, voice is gone. Right, so the mystery is dead because there is no sense of discovery. Everything is sort of like everything is essentially on rails, right? You can't eavesdrop on conversations, you can't check out posters and see the different things that are going on. Instead, what it does is it leaves the unfolding of the story of the universe that the creator sort of made for you in a film. It kind of leaves all the responsibility on the director to put it in front of you, which in a lot of ways can come off more as propaganda because they kind of have control over the things that they're showing you, and you don't feel like there's any responsibility. Secondly, volition is dead because there's no option of choice. Without interactivity, choices are sort of made for you. And some of the most important things in the BioShock series are, will you spare Comstock's life? Will you save or will you kill the little sisters? These are things that in one of the games drastically changes the outcome. And without them, it's sort of like, it's weird. It's just propaganda, it's just ideology. And then finally, responsibility is dead because, a lot different from Advent Children, which is probably a really good execution of video games becoming films. It just built out the backstory. With responsibility being gone, for games like Silent Hill, where, spoilers, this is a 10-year-old game. In the movie, a 10-year-old movie, in the movie you just die in the end, and everybody hated it. Everybody thought that it sucked. In the game, there's a similar ending, but this is one of the few endings, so it's not a spoiler. But it feels less annoying because you were the reason that you got the bad ending, essentially. The video ending, you can move to the next slide.
I feel like the problem with sound was,
Yeah?
it may be because the jack that's supposed to amplify it not be plugged in properly, because I've had that problem before.
Yeah, because it's not stereo, because my voice was stereo in the videos. I'm sure AVGN's was as well. So, yeah. Here's a conclusion. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me. This context seems weird. I'm working through it now. Hopefully someone will want to have a conversation at the end of this and be like, this is a weird guy, you can't want to talk about this stuff. We're trying to have a fun time, right? Like, at any rate, say what? That would have been a good idea 20 minutes ago. All right. So, conclusion. Going back to the timeline. All right, so at least there is something to kind of wrap up with. Maybe the empathy stuff was whatever. It doesn't matter. Going back to the original timeline of adaptation, you have folklore, novels, theater, film. The advantage of this adaptation going in this direction is from folklore to novels, you have meta-narratives, so you have like character development, right? You have people with personality issues and human condition, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. From novels to theater, that's intriguing because you have, well, that's the first time that you have visuals that you can attach things to a face. It's a lot easier to follow because we're a lot more comfortable with eavesdropping on conversations or drama in our situation rather than reading it laid out on a page. And then from theater to film, like, junk just gets real, right? And you can do really dope stuff like computer graphics, you know? This order makes a lot of sense. However, and the next thingy, from film to a game, it almost seems like it's moving backwards. Like, you're stripping something away. Film doesn't really add anything to video games. Actually, the interactivity, that part is gone, and really what it just kind of becomes is fan service. And it's almost like I'm saying that film versions of games are a waste of time, and they really are just a means of pulling money out of you, which I think you can make some pretty good arguments for. But if a World of Warcraft movie came out, I'd be there, just because the lore's pretty good, you know what I mean? So in that regard, it's the novel aspect of it that's awesome. And Tides of Darkness is a good World of Warcraft book. Next one. Well, that's it, really, essentially. A film adaptation of video game is like watching a Let's Play of a game of Jenga. Like, when you watch a movie, you already know how it's going to end. Even when you play it or when you watch the film, you know all the blocks are going to fall at the end, but there's no investment or personal concern or personal responsibility when your hand's on the wooden piece yourself and you're pulling it out and it falls. There's no sensation in that. And when you take that out, you kill it, you know what I mean? And it's these kinds of things that I hope people would dote on and think about, especially people who think that video games are weird and think conventions like this are really weird, because it's not. Like things like ConBravo are great, because even though like people don't walk around saying, oh, like, did you think about the ludonarrative dissonance or whatever like that? And for video games, like, regardless of that, it's not just mindless fun. And maybe at a point it was, and there's still people that don't take games seriously, but they're a powerful medium of conveyance. And that's probably why a lot of you people came here, because you want to celebrate what Castlevania did for you, or what, I don't want to say Mario, it's not, you know. But there are a lot of games that do things like that for you, you know what I mean? Or maybe you just like mindless fun. I mean, that's fine too. So hopefully, this diatribe sort of spoke to that. And for the people who do make stuff, who do design games, or consider designing games, or know a friend who are designing games, hopefully that serves as an important tool for you guys. And then you could just skip to the final plug-in. This was a part of the video, which isn't there. And then the final slide's right after this. Yeah. thanks for your time. There's more videos on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/sashbags, where I dig into different things, like comparing Hotline Miami to Kanye West and a whole bunch of other like random things or whatever, where it's just an offshoot of thoughts and stuff. So thank you guys so much for your time, and I'll see you guys around.
Hello? Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. It's an exciting moment of having the mic work as soon as you turn it on without having to test it. Love my tech guys. Yay. All right. Thank you so much, Satch, for all of that. Just to recap everything else here. Sorry, I'm going through the list of what else is supposed to happen. So that is it, actually, for opening ceremonies. The convention has been opened. You're free to go explore and see all the things there are to see. What is happening here in we have an hour now actually until it starts, which is even more beautiful. Yay, prep time. We have Fandom Musicals production Star Explorers, which basically makes fun of everything sci-fi, which is hilarious and will be awesome. So please, please, please come back and check that out at 7 p.m. back here in this room. We've got other things going on in the various panel rooms on the second floor, as well as 314, which is on this floor as well. Vendor room is open, so please go shop your little hearts out. And have a good convention, everybody. Welcome.